What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, come on, you know I don't watch that shit.
Why not? Too scared?
No, it's just what's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
Hello! And welcome to
episode
40 something. This is
Kim and Kat Stay Alive.
Maybe.
We're a horror movie comedy podcast.
And we are going to tell you a horror movie in its entirety, spoilers and all, and you can play along to see if you will stay alive in it with Kim.
Mwahaha.
That was the most lackluster villain laugh I've ever heard in my life, and I will be writing it into a script. A lackluster villain. Mwahaha.
I just, you know.
A villain who's over it. I love it. It's perfect.
Ready to take over the world.
Shall we have Shall we have a 10:30 a.m. shot of whiskey?
Please.
Great. This is how we roll. To us.
China holes out.
Tits up. That gave me full body shivers.
I liked it.
It was great. All right, so
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay.
Just okay.
I'm feeling a little blue.
I can
I know.
tell.
You can tell. It's hard for me to not do it.
I know. Well, I also think we just live inside each other's brains.
For sure.
So I'm just sort of set up in there going, why did she paint the place blue? I mean, I didn't
so
even
blue
realize
today.
it's so blue today.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually in a little bit of a chipper mood today.
Oh,
so
great.
maybe.
We'll switch places.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, what the fuck? No, you can just come stay over in my
I'm
brain.
saying you be the chipper one and I'll be the blue one.
Oh, right. Yeah. I thought you were just like, you.
No, I'm not saying give me your chipper. I'm like, no, keep it. Have fun.
Well, let's just
Enjoy
hang
it.
out in my brain this morning.
No, but I'm excited to. There's no real reason, which is also a
Girl, I get
a
it.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Losing
my brain because I stopped. I decided to be just friends with just anyone that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
But the like singer guy and like I think I'm having like low key breakup feelings.
Oh,
Low key.
well, that makes
Which
sense.
is why I'm not like dead inside.
Sure.
But like, because I also like I knew the whole time wasn't going
Right.
anywhere, but you're still like, I don't know, spending time with someone. And then I started looking on apps again, and that can be depressing. You guys know. Everyone feels it.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it's
So-
also just like disruption to your expectations and routine. Like, I
Yeah.
think that like anytime that happens, it's just, you just feel a little bit of an absence.
Yeah, it's truly an absence. It's just like an overall loneliness.
Yeah, I get it.
Which is why today I was like, well, I'm really excited to go hang out with all my friends today.
Yeah, all of our
my
Sammys
Sammys.
and me.
And Ketryn.
Well, I
But
totally
mostly
get that.
Sammys.
Sure. No, honestly,
I mean,
me
Ketryn's
too.
here too. Just kidding. I love you.
I love you. But I think it was either you. I think it was the last time we recorded. I was like, just FYI, I had like kind of a blue morning, and I didn't know why
Yeah.
either. Like, I think that that's okay to remember that sometimes.
Yeah, you're just blue.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's better for people, like, the more people can just like say that out loud. And so other people then feel like, oh, it's okay for me to just have a down day.
Yeah.
And nobody has to be weird about it. So like, let's all just tell people when we've painted our brains blue.
My
for
room's a little blue today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like last week at work one day, like I was just like, I'm feeling really sensitive today. I just said that to like one of the other like my coworkers.
I love that you said that.
I forget what what we were even talking about or anything that was going on. I was just like, I'm just feeling really sensitive today.
Oh,
Which I
love
was.
that.
Like I was like, if someone upsets me, I will cry.
Right. Yeah. That happened
That was more specific to PMS, but
Right.
you know.
Well, yeah. That very similar conversation happened when I went back to filling in my old position at my job, where like there were new people there that hadn't that I knew pretty well by this point, but hadn't been there when I was the boss, basically.
Right.
And some people that had been there when I was the boss. And I felt myself getting really agitated, where I get very snippy because it's like I'm agitated and there's like fires to put out all the time. So I get very like snippy. And so I like said to the new people, I was like, just so you know, I'm feeling a little agitated and frustrated right now.
Yeah.
So like if I snap at you, please don't take it personally.
Not you. I think that's good jobs. Good jobs, us.
But what's so funny is the people that had been there before, they were like, why didn't we ever get those comments?
You're like, look, I'm growing, bitch.
I was also
Calm
like,
down.
I was also like, because the only words coming out of my mouth at that time would have just been me telling you that I was in a bad mood. So I had to like say
Every
other
day.
things.
You're just like, I'm in a bad, we know.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, now there's like a little bit of variety in my mood. So I feel like I need to tell people.
Yeah, I think when you just give people the expectation, you set the expectation or let them know, it also makes you feel better because you're like, oh, I don't have to like pretend right now.
Exactly. It's so great. What if the world did that?
I know.
Like, what if...
That's why I want my business. I've been feeling the need for my business that I don't want to share because I don't want you to steal it.
Right. Though I did tell Eric about it and he was like, that sounds like a great idea.
Yay. Like, I've literally been like, can I have it now to go use it myself right now?
Awesome.
Like this whole week I was like, can I just go have it?
That's amazing.
Which is a good thing.
Well, I had... This will segue into the movie that I did, but I'm having a little bit of a resurgence in like remembering why I love acting.
Oh, good.
Because I feel like I feel like I fucking say this all the time, but it's pertinent to what I'm talking about. It's been a rough few years. So like my focus has not, I haven't really had the option.
Life has forced you to focus on life.
On life. Yeah. And then also like the podcast is performing, but it's not acting.
Right.
And so that part of me was just kind of like asleep for a little while.
Right.
And it woke up.
Ooh.
And
Yay.
I'm so grateful to the people that happened to wake it up. And the people that woke it up are what led me to this movie, which also led to a very important learning experience.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
So, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm so ready.
I am a huge Neil Gaiman fan, the books that he writes.
Right.
I have been super excited for Good Omens, which is, I don't know, like how, okay. So it's basically like the ancient story of good and evil told through like modern eyes. Like it's like a biblical story of the end of days, but it takes place in modern times. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And it's all of what I like. Remember when we were like laying in bed the other day and I was like, why do I love these reimaginings of Disney princesses?
Oh, right, yeah.
So I realized what it is. I love reimaginings of old archetypes. Mm-hmm. Like I just love that. And so basically Good Omens is that. So it's things like, you know, Satan or the angel Gabriel or whatever, but it's like reimagined in this new way. And so it's like right up my alley.
Yeah.
Then on top of it, the two stars are two of my most favorite fucking actors of all time.
Yeah. I only know who are they? I know one of them, but I can't think of the other.
Michael Sheen.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Who I was first introduced to because he's on 30 Rock and has like this hilarious little few episodes.
Okay.
Where he plays one of Liz Lemon's boyfriends that she hates.
Okay.
So like, it's just like the fucking best. He's just the best. He's so funny. So I was introduced to him as like a comedic character.
Yeah.
Then I've seen him in other little things. Then he started dating Sarah Silverman, which I just like loved. Oh. And they were in a relationship for 4 years. And then they ended up breaking up. This is devastating, but also incredibly admirable. He's from Wales. Mm-hmm. So Brexit happened to him and Trump happened to us.
Right.
He and Sarah were dating while this happened. And both of them were like, we have work to do. So Sarah started her I Love You America TV show.
Right.
And Michael Sheen was like, the UK needs my help. Like, I need to be like making sure that people know what a horrible mistake they've made with Brexit. Well, that means they're now living in two different countries. Mm-hmm. And so like their relationship actually ended because of political strife in each of their countries that they felt responsible for like speaking out.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, that's really sad, but also incredibly admirable. Then the devil, or not the devil, he's a demon, is played by David Tennant.
Oh, I love him.
I could watch him read the phone book, Kim. Like
Michael
he makes
Sheen
me
is
cry.
in Shaun of the Dead, right?
I believe so, but I
Yeah,
haven't seen Shaun of
that's
the
how I
Dead
know
in
him.
so long.
If I know him, if he's in that, but
Yeah.
maybe I don't.
I think. Are you thinking of Simon Pegg?
Oh, I am thinking of Simon Pegg.
I don't think he's not. Yeah, I don't.
Oh, are they the same person in my brain?
Yeah, and I don't know that. I would be surprised if you actually knew a ton of Michael Sheen's work.
No, I know there's something
Well, let me
that
see.
I love
Yeah.
him in.
So David
Go
Tennant was actually introduced to me by Anya because she was like, "Why do you not watch Doctor Who?" to me.
Yeah, that is surprising.
And she was like, "Don't bother with." Who?
He's in the fucking Showtime show, Masters of Sex.
Oh, right. Yes. Duh. Which you watch, but I don't. Yeah. And she was like, don't bother watching any Doctor Who other than the David Tennant season. I didn't, just because of time and things like that. But I saw him in the first season of Jessica Jones. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, you're everything I want to be. Like, I could just watch you do anything. And then I watched him in Broadchurch.
Broadchurch, yeah, that's why I love him.
So I have a point to all of this. So I
Please.
got to, I know,
I'd love to hear it.
A monster. So I watched all of Good Omens with Eric, and it's like, is it like the best show on TV? No. But it's also like Michael Sheen and David Tennant just talking to each other
Right.
the whole time. And it's the reimagining of old archetypes. So I was just like, I'm here for it. I'm charmed. I'm the audience. I love this. It was just everything that I wanted. Cut to, we're also binging a show, Legion, because we saw that season 3 is coming out and we were like, oh, fuck, we're way behind. So we started watching season 1. Mind blown. Love it. Amazing. Aubrey Plaza is a national treasure. And then Dan Stevens, who is cousin Matthew in Downton Abbey, is Legion.
Okay.
And he's fucking amazing as well. This show is completely mind-blowingly awesome and it has one of the scariest monsters I've ever seen.
I don't know what Legion is. I know Eric said the description in the car while we were all in it the other day, but I wasn't listening.
Well, sure you weren't. Why would you have been? So,
Sorry, Eric.
He's used to it. He's married to me, Kim. I mean, honestly. Basically, what it is like, it's a shoot off of like the X-Men universe.
Right.
It's in the comics. It's Professor Xavier's son. So he has extreme telepathic abilities, but we're not at that part yet.
I think I heard it go in that direction, and that's
you were
where
like,
I was like,
snooze. Goodbye.
I was like, cool. I feel like Eric is immediately just like, but they're so good when you watch them. I'm like, no.
I get
it. Like, I've watched some of any of the things, and I like it when I watch it, but it's never going to be the thing I choose.
Right, exactly.
There's so much out there. It's just never the top of my list.
I
if
hear
you
you.
put it in front of my face, I like it
I
at
hear
that
you.
moment. But
Yeah.
like, I don't care.
So this one I might actually like put in a second vote for you to watch because acting wise, it's really impressive. And it has the scariest monster I've ever seen to the point where I had a full blown childhood experience where I got up to deal with the cats and I had to run back into the bedroom because I saw the monster.
Remember, what was that movie?
Oh my God. It was like it was like Pulse or something.
Or was it The Descent?
Oh, maybe it was, I don't know what it was where I ran away from the TV.
What happened?
This was like 10 years ago.
We were
It's some-
watching a horror movie
Yeah.
together. I don't know why it's like the funniest moment. It was like
It's because I got up to do something else, and
Yeah.
then, but that put me closer to the TV,
Yeah.
and then a monster jumped out, and I like ran and jumped.
she
on the
took
couch.
like 1.5 steps off the couch and was like and ran back to the couch. It was one of my favorite moments of your life.
So thank you. So that's what I did. But then I am a monster, and I woke Eric up, and I was like, I just had a nightmare while I was awake, and I need you to hold me. And he was like, I hate you. But anyway, terrifying monster. So the way that I picked my next 2 movies, I Googled what horror movies are Dan Stevens, Michael Sheen, and David Tennant in.
Okay.
And I found 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're all in them together?
No, not together.
They're separate, okay.
Yeah. So I watched this one first. But
Who's
here's
Dan Stevens again? Cousin Matthew.
Cousin
and
Matthew and
Downton
Downton Abbey.
Okay.
The super hot one that Mary marries, and then he,
Right.
spoiler alert, dies
Got
because
it.
he
I
wanted to
think
do other
so.
projects like Legion. So, but here's where my learning experience comes in. And we are not in the business, if you're a new Sammy, we are not in the business of like judging movies. Making movies is really hard, you guys. I get it. Even like the worst movies out there, somebody still had to work really, really hard to make.
Okay.
And also, just because David Tennant is in your movie doesn't mean it's a good movie. So, like, that was my learning experience.
Ketryn, how do we... So, Ketryn and I don't tell each other what movies we're doing.
Yeah.
We, like, tend to record 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Or we
Which
try
means,
to.
like, one of us tells one story, or one, and yeah.
Like, in an entire day. But in general, we almost always line up in some weird way. It's so funny.
Oh, my God. So, are you about to tell me that the episode that you're going to record lines up in a weird way? Oh, my God. I can't wait.
Doozy.
I can't fucking wait. So the only reason that I'm telling you it's bad, because the one good thing about this is because we're telling the story to each other, we tend to make movies that we don't even like sound better to the other person.
Yeah.
I feel the need to tell you that there were some problems in this movie because I think it's going to like,
God, we're in the same. We're
so
living
funny.
the same life.
It's so great because I feel like it's gonna. I'm gonna tell you things, and you're gonna go, "Why did you tell me that?" Or like, "What?
Okay.
How does this apply to the story?" And I'm gonna have to say, "I don't know."
Oh, okay. Mine are
You see what I'm
different
saying?
kinds of problems, but
Okay.
sure. Last week we did creepy kids, and
Yeah.
now we're doing
Bad movies. I feel terrible because, like, here's the thing: David Tennant. I respect him even more now because he is good enough that I feel like he could have been like, this script is awful, I'm out. And he didn't.
It's confusing why he didn't, but
Well,
sure.
as Eric said, when I was like, why is David Tennant doing this movie? And he goes, a paycheck's a paycheck. And I was like, that's true.
Like, I mean, when was it made?
It's very recent, like 2016.
That doesn't make sense.
Something.
That doesn't play out because I'm sorry, but like when you're making fucking Doctor Who money,
Right.
You don't need a paycheck. Like
Well,
you're good.
That's kind of what I was
like when you're making
curious about.
just like what's the word for income?
Residuals.
Residual, yeah.
Now, here's the only thing is like, is he kind of a Samuel L. Jackson type of person? Where like Samuel L. Jackson, he talks about like that he'll do any movie that like, because people make fun of him for doing things like Snakes on a Plane.
Right.
And or commercials. And his response is, he's like, my father went to like a factory every single day.
He's like, this is my job.
That's my job. And sometimes you don't like your job, but it's what you do.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so I was like, maybe he's a Samuel L. Jackson kind of actor.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So this movie is called Bad Samaritan.
Okay.
And David Tennant is in it.
And it's from the 2000 teens.
Yes, 2000 teens. It is also directed by, and I am going to tag Paul Scheer in a tweet about this as well, because it's directed by the same director who directed Geostorm. And if I had read that beforehand, I may have had an idea into what I was embarking upon, but I didn't. So
I'm excited.
Are you
got a
ready?
point already.
Yep. You honestly, you're going to get all the points. It's fine.
You don't know.
Oh, you're right. I don't. Okay. So are you ready for Dead or Alive's?
Here's where I fail.
Yeah. Here's where you lose. Dead or Alive. Kale.
Kale is alive and thriving.
Sean. Boy.
A weird name to have to tell me it was a boy. I know there are girls named Sean, but like
One of my
this was
coworkers
weird.
is named Sean.
Oh, like
Yeah.
I was like, what a weird.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like it was definitely 99%.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Well, you know what? If it was girl Sean, I was going to say alive, but boy Sean is dead.
Okay. Friend. I think his name is Derek, but I never call him Derek.
Dead.
Stepdad.
Dead.
Mom.
Alive.
Riley. Girl.
Alive.
Girl.
Is girl a girl or a boy?
Boy. I'm just kidding. No, it's a girl.
Interesting. Dead.
FBI lady
Alive.
and detective.
Alive.
Great.
Felt like a lot. Felt
only
like a
9.
lot of characters.
It was only 9. You'll be fine. All right. So I should have known this movie was going to be an issue because it opens with animal abuse.
Your favorite.
Yep. It opens on, luckily it was shot choppily. So like it was not a continuous shot of me being able to see all of the abuse. It was like flashes of the abuse, if that makes sense. So I was kind of able to.
Oh, like actual animal like abuse?
Yes.
Not just like, oh.
No, like actual animal
That
abuse.
to me is much more upsetting.
No,
than-
it was.
I mean, I don't want any animals to die. Okay, people. I know I sound like a monster all the time because I'm always just like, Ketryn, calm down. But I'm just like, things die.
No, this was actual abuse.
And yeah, that's that I don't like.
So it opens on a little boy whipping a horse. He's we learn later he's about 14, but you could tell that he was like a teenager, not like a toddler. And the horse is very, very upset and distressed and being whipped and tied down so he can't get away. And there's a woman yelling for the boy to stop, which he does not. Ooh. And then the boy pulls out a gun and shoots the horse.
What?
It was a bummer. And I was like, can I tap out now?
I mean,
Can I?
have.
But I knew
But
David
we all know now that you're also an animal murderer of your own birds.
Of my own birds.
So
I don't know that it was my turn to put the handkerchief.
We-
I put the handkerchief on the cage.
we know that now about you.
I can't get into this. Goodbye. So
A hidden fact for our entire friendship.
I know. I still think about them.
I told Eric about it.
Sky and Jack.
I don't think he knew either.
Is that
Sky
why?
and Jack?
Yeah.
What if you named them Rose and Jack and like didn't know?
Didn't
and then
know.
Titanic came out and you were like, oh God, are those my birds?
They are my birds. Okay. So next shot is the cityscapes of Portland. I was confused by the music cues several times because it sounded kind of like, so I'm watching a horror movie, right? But it
Hopefully.
sounded like I was watching the ending credits of Jurassic Park. That kind of triumphant,
Right.
epic music. And I was like,
do
what?
like the end of Jurassic
Sure.
Park music.
But it doesn't fit into every scenario. So cityscapes of Portland. Then we go into a young man's sort of studio bedroom and he's printing out a photograph that he took. And he looks at the printed version and he doesn't like the color. Like the color, once it prints, doesn't compare to like the color on his computer and he doesn't like it. So then he gets a knock on the door. And it's this young woman and she says, hello, sir, do you have time for the Lord? And he says, nope. And she says, oh, okay. Well, how about if I jump your bones?
Whoa!
And he's like, yes. It's his girlfriend. She's
okay,
playing games.
That's cute.
Yeah, it is cute. And so they're making out and then he stops her. And he's like, you look so beautiful. And he grabs his camera and he starts taking pictures. And she's kind of shy and he's like, I'm not taking like dirty pictures of you. It's just like the way the light is coming in. Like you just look beautiful. And so she's being playful. Don't worry.
Don't worry, someone's getting murdered.
Yeah, it's fine. And so she's like starting to get into it and gets playful. And at one point she like flashes her boob. And then she's like, keep that for yourself. Like, don't show that to anyone. Don't put that on your portfolio. Don't show that to your friend. Like, don't. And he's like, I won't. And then she's kind of like laying on the bed and she is looking at his other photos that he's taken. And she finds a photo of an old man. He kind of looks like a homeless man that Sean kind of tricked into a smile. Not tricked, but like kind of caught a moment where he's smiling at the camera. And it's a great photo. And she's like, I love it. She's like, you should do this for your job. And he says, it'll kill my creativity working for corporate America. And she's like, you realize you're talking to a business major. And he's like, well, guess you'll have to support me. And I'm like, bitch, red flag, get out of there. Like he's basically like, I don't want to make money doing what I love. Like, and you'll realize why this is an issue in just a moment.
Okay.
So they're all cutesy, and she's like, yeah, I'll support you. Like, I'll get my business degree and you can just take pictures of people. So now the next scene, he is at the trunk of his car. Like, he's opened up the trunk of his car. He's outside of a house, and he opens it up, and his trunk looks like a pawn shop. Like, it's just a whole bunch of shit in there. And he starts like rooting around in things, and he finds a ring that's like a Claddagh ring with an emerald in it. And then he finds like a box, like a little ring box, takes that ring out, puts the Claddagh ring inside. And then he walks up to the house that he's parked outside. We realize it's his parents' house, and it's his mom's birthday. The stepdad is outside teaching his younger brother how to chop wood. And his mom comes out and she's like, oh my God, I'm so glad to see you. And he gives her the ring. And the stepdad comes up and he's like, that looks expensive. And he's like, I got a deal. And he's like, interesting. Like, he's definitely like, you got a deal on an emerald ring. I'm suspicious. And then he says, you know, you wouldn't have to worry about money and getting deals on things if you took my brother up on his offer for a job. And Sean is like, I don't want to photograph tacos and chicken wings. So basically, I guess it would be like the person that is like taking food advertisement photos.
Right.
And the stepdad is like, it's a job taking pictures. And Sean says, I don't want to wear a suit and piss into a cup every day. And I'm like, what do you think jobs are? Like, what jobs do you think require you to piss into a cup every day? Do you have to piss into a cup every day?
I don't.
I don't either. This is apparently what jobs mean to him, is wearing a suit. And
But I guess he's saying if I
cups.
work in the corporate world,
But you
I have to wear a suit and get drug tested.
Yeah, but you don't have to piss into a cup every day. They like tell you when they're going to test you for drugs. And it's usually like before they hire you. So it's like, just don't do drugs for a couple weeks and then do all the drugs you want once you get the job. You'll be fine. At least that's what I heard.
Survival guide.
Yeah. So
basically he is a photographer, but he's like, I want to like photograph because I love it. I don't want it to turn into like
a job.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Which I get. Actually,
I do
my father, who's like one of the most talented carpenters that's ever lived.
Agreed.
I'm constantly like, you should make this for a living. And he's like, no, because I want to like it still.
Makes sense.
You will understand my judgment of this in just a moment.
Yeah.
Because my father does that as a hobby, but then also
has a job where he wears a suit
and pisses into a cup every day. Yeah. So now we're in a parking garage with Sean and his friend, who I believe his name is Derek, but I think I just call him friend the whole time. And they are going over what appears to be a haul of stolen items from someone's house. Here's where my judgment comes in. It appears Sean has stolen a Timex watch, a digital camera, and some stamps.
Great.
And his friend is like, a Timex watch. And he's like, they're very reliable.
Great.
And he's like, and stamps? And he's like, stamps don't cost nothing. And which I was like, you're not wrong.
Not wrong.
No, I mean, how many times are you just like, why don't I have one stamp? Now he has stamps.
I mean, not often, but sometimes.
He's in a better situation than me right now with that letter that I've been wanting to mail for a week. So, and then he also shows him a picture of a gift card. And he's like, you take a picture, all you need is a picture of the barcode. You don't actually need the card. So then people don't know that their gift card was stolen, and then they can't have the card canceled, kind of thing.
Interesting.
Which I actually have heard before, that gift cards are not always like a great gift because they're really easily stolen, especially the ones when you go to the grocery store and there's like a rack of gift cards. They're like, don't ever give people those, because people will literally just like take the barcode and use it, and then you're giving someone a blank gift card.
Interesting.
Yeah. So another little tip. So we learn that Sean is like still pissed because they He's Irish. He has an Irish accent.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's pretty cute. His accent's pretty cute. Maybe if he was in a different movie, it would have stood out to me more. But, you know.
Is he an actual Irish
I believe so. Yeah.
person?
Yeah.
Couldn't figure that.
An actual
Irish?
Irish human being? Yes.
Like from the land of Ireland?
I believe so.
Ooh,
I
amen.
believe. Yeah. And he's pretty cute.
Sean, hey, what's up?
He's pretty cute. So he's like still mad that his stepdad moved them to Portland for a construction job that only lasted 2 weeks.
Oof.
And his friend is like, that happened 7 years ago. Get over it. Oof. Like, please get over it. And his dad...
I feel you, Sean. Okay.
But like, he's talking like his dad's like some sort of like, or his stepdad's like some sort of like deadbeat. And it's like,
right.
No, he like lives in a really nice house and like clearly supports you. And I think adopted you and like is a super cool stepdad.
Right.
From what I can see. So get over it. And so the friend is like, I want to keep the digital camera. And Sean's like, I'm the fucking photographer. Like, I want to keep the digital camera. And he's like, no way, man. It might have boobs on it. And then Sean says, he's like, no, the lady was old and that's gross. And I was like, that is very ageist. And the friend agrees with me because he says, old lady still got titties. And I'm like, they do. They still have titties. So now we see what their sort of day job is. And it is them as valets at a restaurant. But they don't appear to make enough money at the valet job because they have a little side business that goes along with it. So a family pulls up to the valet and they get out and the woman like drops a bag of Cheerios and like Sean picks it up and gives it to her. And he can tell that she's just like really overwhelmed by her kids. And she's like, thank you so much. Please don't tell them that I'm like bringing Cheerios into the restaurant. He's like, I don't care. It's fine. So they go inside and the friend drives off in their car and Sean calls and he's like, don't do this to this family. Like they're a family. Please don't do this. Oh. And he's like, no, it'll be fine. Whatever. I'm sure they have insurance kind of thing. Like he's like, no, I'm doing it. So basically what they do is they take the car and they know that nobody is at they can kind of suspect that nobody is at the house. So they drive to the house by getting the address off of the registration.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah. I know.
Fuck.
I know,
Shit.
right? I'm like,
good damn.
I mean, I don't have anything to say other than my cats. I don't want like, I seriously would be like, take whatever you want. Just like, don't take my grandma's ashes, my dad's jewelry box, or my cats. Otherwise, whatever. Who cares?
Wow.
I just invited everyone to come rob me. So the friend is at the house of these people, and he opens the garage door because he sees that there's like that little buttony thing.
Fuck!
I know.
This is terrifying.
I know. And
this
then
is the most horrifying movie we've ever watched.
I know.
Because
I'm like, shit. Like, how do we?
I've never thought about this before.
Well, one thing we can do. We can keep our registration like in our wallet. Like we can not keep it in the car, but I won't. Well, you're gonna get robbed. And I'm gonna get robbed. But also, I feel like this is an argument for keeping your car looking like trash,
I was
like mine
just
does.
going to say to you, Ketryn, I was like, no offense,
Nobody's
but no
gonna
valet's getting in your car,
No.
and even considering coming to your house.
Absolutely not. And that's why I keep my car like a fucking bird toilet dumpster.
Sure it is.
Yeah,
sure
it's why.
it is.
It's so I don't get robbed.
Sure.
It's a security measure. Drive around a dumpster and nobody's gonna think you have anything to steal. So he puts gloves on his feet, which I thought was very smart. Like he gets out of the car in the garage and he puts like, whatever the fuck on his feet.
Yeah, like the little crime scene booties.
Yes, thank you.
Crime scene booties?
Crime scene
Soups in
booties.
style right now.
They're all over fucking Mogue magazine.
Mogue
all
magazine.
over
Crime
Mogue
scene
magazine.
booty.
And he goes in and he sees that there's an alarm, but they didn't fucking set it. And he's like, what's the point of having it? And I'm like, true. Like, what is the point of having an alarm if you don't set it? If you have an alarm, set your alarm. Then it cuts back to the family at the restaurant, back to the friend. The friend goes upstairs and he's looking around for stuff when all of a sudden, giant, barking, Doberman.
Ooh,
Huge
that's
fucking
their alarm.
Yeah, they're like, I did set my alarm, bitch. It's called feeding my dog. And the Doberman charges. So he runs down the stairs and he shuts the door to the kitchen. The fucking dog knows how to open the door.
Oh my God.
So the dog opens the door and he's like, what, bitch? And so he's like, fuck. And it chases him out. He makes it into the garage and he leaves.
Whoa.
So I don't think he got to steal anything. He might have like grabbed one thing, but it was definitely not a successful run. So now they're back at the valet and he's returned the car, obviously. Family's none the wiser as far as he knows. And it's a super slow night. Like they're like, fuck, like nobody is coming to the fucking restaurant, when all of a sudden super fucking nice car drives up. I'm sure people who know cars would know what it was right away, but I needed somebody to tell me what it was because I didn't know.
What was it?
Maserati.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Fire.
And this fucking asshole douchebag gets out, otherwise known as my boyfriend, David Tennant. And he's doing an American accent, which was... he did a great American accent, but I'm so familiar with his voice that I was like, just have him not do an accent. Like your lead is Irish with an Irish accent.
Right.
Like just have him talk like he normally talks. But he did a great job. And he's on the phone, like, as he gets out, and he, like, says to Sean, he's like, no one smoked near my car, especially you. You smell like a fucking drum circle.
Whoa.
And then he's like, and don't park under any fucking trees. And friend is like, you have a beautiful car. And David Tennant goes, yeah, do I? Don't fucking touch it. So,
bro, you're getting robbed.
Right?
Motherfucker.
Yeah. So... Kim.
Hashtag immediate karma.
Immediate karma. So Kim,
Yes.
knowing this,
Yes.
what does Sean decide to do? And what do you do?
We hand in hand go rob David Tennant's house.
Okay. Where's my bail? I'm giving you 1 point for being correct and 0 points for staying alive.
Well, it's fine by me.
Yeah. Though he really asked for it.
He
and
did.
I agree with you. So Sean is like, let's rob this motherfucker.
For sure.
And once again, music cue. Very weird. It appears we are now in some sort of Celtic adventure movie. It's very strange. So
Could I hear it, please?
it's literally like it's like as if it's like Willow in the movie Willow is like about to embark upon his like Celtic journey. Like it's very like la da 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 da. I'm a fairy running through the woods. Except we're not. We're a modern day teenager driving a Maserati through a city about to rob someone. So car takes him to the dude's house because it's a super nice car. So he literally just
puts it home.
Yeah. And it drives him home. And the garage door opener tells him which one it is because like it takes him to like the place where home is, but it doesn't have an address. So it's like it could be this house or this house, you know what I mean? But the car garage door opener, he just points it at the houses and sees which one opens. Oof. Right? I know. I'm like,
scared.
shit. I need to like call my parents and be like, don't let anyone valet your car. So he goes inside the house through the garage and he goes upstairs and it's a super nice fucking house, obviously. And he goes to the little, I always forget this word. Susie just bought one from Anthropology. Credenza. I always forget that word. And he starts opening his mail. And I was like,
interesting
what the
choice.
fuck is in my mail that people could steal? Brand new fucking Black American Express. And I was like, that's what's in people's mail. Okay. So he calls his friend at the valet and he's like, jackpot. It's not even opened. He doesn't know it's here. It's not activated.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he's like, eBay scam. So this is genius. What they would do is not just like use it to buy shit. They would buy like 500 iPhones and then resell those iPhones on eBay. And so like that's how they make the money.
Interesting.
And Sean is like, I'm going to take Riley to Maui. And Derek friend is like, I'm going to move out of my mom's house. He's like, this is it. Like, we've done it. And he's like, to activate it, you have to call from a number associated with the account.
Okay.
So it's not like he can call from his cell phone.
Right.
And as we're watching, as the audience watching him talk on the phone, the camera appears to be somebody watching him from the stairs.
Yes. POV.
Yeah. We learned that the asshole's name is Kale Ehrenreich. Yeah. Kale. And he goes to like the little carriage for the phone, and the phone's not in there. So he can't find the cordless. So he beeps it. Like, I don't know. I haven't had a fucking house phone in so long. I forgot that you could do that. And then I remembered that I constantly lost the phone at my parents' house, and my dad had to beep it all the time. So he beeps it, and he hears it upstairs. So he goes upstairs. He finds it on the nightstand of the bedroom. Mm-hmm. So he sits on the side of the bed, and he calls, and he activates the card. Then he's kind of like looking, and he sees that like the side, the end table drawer is a little bit open, and he opens it and he finds handcuffs in the nightstand. Mm-hmm. But he like touches them, like he's fucking touching everything. Like, I'm just like, amateur hour. Fingerprints. At least your friend put on
fucking your friend had like
Moog Vooties in there,
and you're just fucking touching everything barehandedly.
Yeah, but I was also like, David Tennant's not really like my type at all. He's like kind of pointy and lithe, if you will, which is not really my jam.
What's lithe mean?
Just sort of like skinny and you know, he's a little gangly.
Yeah.
But I'm here for it. And I'm like, handcuffs in the nightstand. Like, what? Hello. But he leaves. He's like, card's activated. Gotta get out of here. But as he's leaving, he sees this like fortified door, like another door next to the bedroom. And it's like padlocked to oblivion. Mm-hmm. And his friend says, you don't fortify something like that unless there's a reason. And he's like, this could be the perfect score.
Oh God.
And Sean's like, what's the perfect score? You should be. What's the perfect score? And friend Derek says, a score so big you never have to score again. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's a perfect score. So Kim, does he go in? Do you go in? Question 2.
I mean, my answer is to say, yes, he tries. I don't know how he's getting in. I'm going to take my black card and run, though.
So what was your answer for him?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. He goes in. Taking your black card and running is the right choice. He has his keychain. So he tries a bunch of keys on his keychain.
Got it.
And so it does.
In my brain, it was more fortified than that.
Agreed.
But, okay.
Agreed. Yeah. Again,
right.
We can't look too deep into this. You kind of just got to look at the surface of everything. So Geostorm. So he goes in, finds a computer. The screensaver is a picture of a horse, by the way.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, and he's looking for passwords. You know how everyone...
So all that's inside is a computer?
It's an office. No, it's an office. Okay. Desk, chair, computer, but it's dark.
Interesting.
So he like is kind of just seeing, like he goes straight to the computer because the computer's like lit up kind of thing.
Wasn't what I was expecting inside. Yeah. Okay.
So it's just an office. And he's looking for passwords, and you know, he immediately finds a folder labeled passwords.
Great. How
don't
convenient.
You have one? Don't you? Aren't you like, as someone who's like super concerned with security and things, don't you just have
right.
Anyway, I gotta dial it back. So he's looking for passwords, and then he sees a checkbook, And he's talking to his friend on the phone the whole time.
Right.
And he's like, oh, there's a checkbook. And he's like, oh, but fuck, there's only like one check. Like that would be super noticeable. And his friend says, you don't need the check. You just need the account number and the routing number.
This is fact.
Yeah. So he takes out his phone and it's still dark in the room except for the light of the computer. Mm-hmm. And he holds up the checkbook and then holds up his phone and takes a picture. And as it flashes, girl tied up! Ah! And we just see a flash of a girl tied to a chair, bound and gagged, like terrified. And he jumps back and he's like, what the actual fuck?
I mean, that's more what I expected.
Yeah, exactly.
To be real.
So she's like insanely shackled and gagged.
Shit.
Like like not just tied up, like an elaborate series of...
So just like further into the room, but it was just complete darkness?
But it was just complete darkness.
Okay.
So it's like she was kind of like a little bit behind the desk. So
Right.
when he held up
Got
his
it.
phone. And it appears that like the chair that she's shackled to, he's almost set up like a bunch of black plastic wrap as if... So like, let's pretend there was going to be blood splatter.
Oh, no.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's set up that way.
Like Dexter style?
Kind of, but it looks like black trash bags a little bit.
Right. Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. So insanely shackled. He goes over, he takes the gag off, but it's not like a gag. It's like it looks like a fucking bridle, like for a horse. Mm-hmm. See where I'm going?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And she's like, help me. We don't have much time. Question 3. What does he do? And what do you do?
Fuck. Oh, I'm trying to fuck.
No, girl, do what you gotta do. Fucking Geostorm that shit.
I can't. Fucking fuck. You know what? I can't do it.
Okay.
I'm going to unlock her for sure. I feel like the best way to stay alive is get the fuck out and leave that bitch. But I literally, and I know
but
that
you would die from guilt.
Yeah. Like I know that we've realized how ruthless you need to be, but in this situation, I literally could not.
Right.
So I'm helping her and I'm just going to, I'm going to say he does the same.
1
Oof.
point. Point for you.
Oh shit.
No point for him.
Oh shit.
And
Sean,
you will learn.
What if that was your girlfriend?
Right? So you'll learn like, and it comes a couple steps down the line. So just be patient. And then also you'll learn why you actually would stay alive by saving her.
Fantastic.
So she says, help me. We go back to the valet for a second, and friend Derek is helping the family that they initially robbed,
right?
Giving them their car keys back, looking for their car keys, like in their little like cabinet or whatever. And he's been clocking Kale the whole time. Like he can see where he's sitting, you know, so that he can let him know when he's leaving. He kneels down to like get the other family's keys, kind of turns to the side and see Kale's not there anymore. Turns around right behind him.
God.
Derek friend is like, what the fuck? Now we're back with Sean and the gagged girl. And she's like, there's no key. Like he's kind of trying to help her get out initially. And she's like, it's not on there. It's on a leather chain, like a leather necklace. It's a skeleton
like
key
on
that
his body.
On his body that he wears around his neck. And flashback to the valet, he says to Kale, he's like, oh yeah. I have this couple right in front of you, and then I'll go get your car. So he's like trying to buy some time. And luckily this other family or whatever like needs their car. So he's able to like buy some time, and that like he has to go get this other person's car, drive it back. So pretty good timing and allows him to like be on the phone with Sean.
Yeah.
So now we're back with Sean, and he's trying to break her out of the shackles. And she's like, it's bolted to the ground, dude. Like, you're not going to be able to like fucking Hulk this. Like, you can't just... I would have broken out if you were able to break me out with your bare hands, idiot. And she didn't say idiot. I said idiot. So then over the phone, we hear friend Derek being like, "Where are you, Sean? The dude is here. Get the car back." And so Sean almost leaves her at that point. But she's like, "Listen, like, I don't care if you're robbing the place. Like, just get me out of here. Like, I'm not going to, you know, obviously when I talk to anybody, like, you don't exist. Just get me the fuck out of here." And she's like, and he says, she says, "I think he has some tools downstairs."
Okay.
So he goes to leave to look for the tools. And she's like, no, put that chair back and put the gag back in my mouth. And he's like, "Why?" And she's like, "Because he can look, like, there's a camera right up there. It's not on, but he can activate it from his phone. So like, we can see when he's looking at me. He's not right now,
like
but
the
like,
little light will be on or whatever.
Yeah. So now we're back with Kale, and Kale is just like waiting for his car, and he pulls out his phone.
Ah, shit. Oh God.
And he pulls up a grid for his house. Like, it just looks like a blueprint, you know? And back with Sean, she's like, "Turn that light off, put the thing back in my mouth." And he's like, "I'll be right back." Then we're back with Kale, and we see that he activates the camera. And a light goes on. We're back in the garage, and he sees a wall of tools. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what's on there. Just know that it's a fairly extensive wall of tools.
Okay.
And I want to know what tools you would grab, or types of tools you would grab, and what types of tools you think he grabs. So you guys aren't going to hear the pause that we just took, but Kim and I took a pee break, and we've had a couple offers to film us while we record. And I just thought about all of the sexiness that you guys just missed of us having to climb out of my couch from within the mics, and then me having to just grab my pen that I couldn't reach. It would just be almost too sexy.
It's true.
For Sammy's to watch. Okay, Kim, what tools?
Okay. I'm going to go with electric drill.
Oh, I'm sorry. You or him?
Me first.
Okay, you first.
I'm going to go with electric drill.
Okay.
A hacksaw. A screwdriver. And like a hammer and a chisel. Just to cover all the bases.
I love it. And what does he grab?
I'm not feeling like he's on top of it. So I'm going to go with, what does he grab? Like a hammer and a screwdriver.
He does a little bit better than that, but like, you were really thinking about the construction of this and going, what tools, you know?
Right.
He grabbed two things. He grabbed bolt cutters, which was actually pretty smart.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot about the existence of those.
Right. Which is why I was like, just grab whatever, because it was like, you weren't necessarily going to guess bolt cutters, but you did grab some other things that I think would be useful.
Can I have a backup question?
Yes.
Why didn't I get a point for him trying to help her out?
You'll find out.
He's currently helping her out.
You'll find out. I'll tell you in 1 second. You'll find out.
I don't. Okay.
Yeah. So,
but
you'll find out.
Time has happened already.
You'll find out. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
I hate you.
Yeah. So grabs a bolt. I think he grabs a hacksaw too.
Okay.
But I think it's just bolt cutters. So he's about to go back upstairs when he sees a door in the garage that is closed. Not locked, but that's fine. And he opens it, and it's a fucking Dexter-style murder room.
Oh, God.
Dexter / Nazi doctor murder room. Okay, so we've got an exam table. We've got chemicals. We've got a chainsaw. We've got swords. I was like, this guy is not fucking around. Like, he gets creative with his murder, you know? All right. Now you're about to find out why Sean lacks follow through, shall we say.
Even if he
So he goes back upstairs.
Okay.
And you remember she said, shut the door.
Right.
Like basically put everything back. He goes upstairs. Light from the camera comes on in the hostage room. She looks up at the camera. He's coming back up the stairs. He sees the light under the door and stands there. What does he do? What do you do?
I'm still mad I didn't get the point because
Just wait until I tell you. Just wait until I tell you.
In that moment, he tried to help her.
Just wait.
We've passed the moment. It
Just
doesn't
wait.
matter what
Just
he
wait.
does from this point forward.
What do you do now? What does he do?
You're a monster. Okay. The light is on. I'm going to leave and call the police.
Kim is?
Yeah. Because it seems like I can't do anything in this moment. This guy's car needs to go back. I'm going to call the police.
And what does he do?
I think he... Does he leave now?
Yes. Now, Kim, the reason that I'm being a stickler about this is because you have to remember I said things don't quite make sense
right
in this movie. So everything you're saying, I agree with. I agree with everything you're saying. But we're living in the land of the movie and there are things that don't add up. Okay?
Okay.
So you just have to trust me.
I don't.
So I just had like kind of a flash to like you as a teenager, and I feel like I want to call your mom or like send her a card. Jeannie, here's a card for everything you endured. Okay. So at this point, he sees the light, and rather than waiting for the light to go off, he backs away and he says, "I'm sorry," like through the door. Ugh. Can you imagine being that girl? Like you're like, I'm about to get out, and this motherfucker. So Kale, then we see him put his phone away, and then we see Sean leave the house and drive away. So here's why I didn't give you the point for the first one.
Please tell me. I'm currently waiting.
Because the follow through is what was going to get her out. Like if you look at what
tries to get her out, I am trying to get her out. That was the answer to the question.
What does he do?
I'm trying to get her out, and he tries to do the same. I didn't say we figure it out and we break her out. It was, does he try or does he not? And he tried. I am fighting for this point. Like, that doesn't make sense. You asked me 2 questions after that.
I guess I will give you half a point only because to me, trying to get her out by like jiggling stuff isn't trying to get her out. You have to get tools.
But he could have left right in that moment. The question was, does he like attempt, like, does he leave her or does he stay and help her?
So you're
and he
saying
stayed
because
and helped her. In that moment of the time the question was asked, he stayed and helped her. So therefore the answer was correct.
All right. I will give you half a point for that. Because to me, the follow through is
these questions are not fair. If you're not gonna score them correctly, it's not fair.
Okay, so
you can't ask for a future time. Don't ask the question in that moment. Then ask it at a later time.
You guys,
I answered it correctly.
Kim is losing her mind right now.
You know what?
I feel unsafe.
I'm gonna need all of our Sammy patrons to fucking get on board with me because they're going to be playing the at-home game, and I'm sorry you're not getting points either.
Can someone please help me? I'm calling for help. I'm so afraid right now.
I am putting this to a vote. Whenever this comes out, I'm going to be like, did I fucking answer that question correctly?
Okay, you do that.
The question was, does he stay and try to help her, and do you? And I said yes, and I said he does too, and we both did.
Okay, we'll put it to a vote.
The answer is yes.
We'll put it to a vote.
You're a fucking bitch.
Someone please save me. When will Eric be home?
We're not having any more fucking episodes.
Because Kim is murdering me.
Because Ketryn is dead now.
Yeah. So
I will be now with my ghost host. It's not Ketryn.
I'm haunting her.
It's my 80s boyfriend that I'm bringing back.
So he drives away in the Maserati, and he's so freaked out. Like, he's basically sobbing in the car.
Right.
Where I'm like, girl, you got to get your shit together. Like, these are not cute tears. You will not be able to hide this shit. You are blotchy. You are sobbing. So the friend Derek puts the family in the car because now he's gotten their car. He's returned to the stand. He very slowly sort of puts the family in their car, trying to buy time. Can't buy any more time. And so he says to Kayla, he's like, you had the... And he's like, Maserati? And he's like, yeah, the blue one. And he goes, the only fucking Maserati you have in your line. I was like, you're an asshole.
You don't know me.
But you're such a good actor. So right at that moment, Sean pulls up and he's sobbing.
Oh, God.
Again, I'm like, get it together. And as Kale is like coming to the driver's side, he notices that the bolt cutters are still on the front seat.
What the fuck are you doing, you idiot?
Right. So he like fucking brought the bolt cutters with him.
Oh my God.
And he quickly, so they're like on the passenger seat, he quickly like shoves them under the seat. Okay. Right. Yeah. Now, granted, they're
if you were gonna do that, you may as well have just stayed
chuck 'em out the
there
window.
and tried to like fucking save her.
Yes.
Because like you bringing the car back, but then like bringing the bulk, you just murdered her.
I
like
mean,
you may as well have
literally,
just
like,
I don't know.
They're so, and you're gonna see other things that he wasn't paying attention. It's really frustrating. So quickly shoves them under the seat. And just so you know, the bolt cutters were like this, were like pretty big. So it's not like something where he could have like shoved into his pants or something. So he's like, so Kale's like, what do I owe you? Sean can't even fucking answer him. So he's like, whatever. Kale gets in the car, drives off. Sean then gets out of the car and he's talking to friend Derek, and he's like, he has a girl chained up like an animal. And Sean is like, or shows him the picture, because remember he got the picture. And Sean is like, okay, call 911.
Yeah.
Or no, Sean, I'm sorry. Sean says, I'm calling 911.
Yeah.
And the friend says, you can't, we'll get busted.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Call from a fucking payphone.
And
it doesn't matter.
I'm giving you a bonus point for that. Payphone. So Derek friend is like, we'll get busted. Sean's like, there's a girl chained up in someone's house. Like, I can't sleep at night if I don't do something about this. So we're back with Kale. Kale pulls up to his house and he turns all the lights on before he even pulls into the driveway from his phone. Now we're back at a
payphone. Thank you.
Calling 911 from the payphone. Though, when is the last time you saw a payphone? That was my only.
You'd have to go on a hunt.
Yeah, that was my only thing where I was like, they're literally like removing payphones from places. But I guess there was one right across the street from this restaurant they were working in. Worked out perfectly. So he gives the address and the info and hangs up the phone. The friend then kind of pats him on the back and is like, you did all you could do. Sean's like, that's not all I could do. I'm going to go make sure it gets done, and I'm never stealing anything again. So now we're back at Kale's house. Kale goes into the office and he's looking around the office.
I'm concerned.
And he's quizzical, where we're like, is something out of place? Like, is he noticing something? He doesn't give a lot away, but he's definitely like looking around.
But you said he noticed the bolt cutters.
He did not notice the bolt cutters. Sean was able to shove them under the seat before he came around to the side.
Oh, when you said you meant Sean.
Yeah,
Got
he
it.
did not see them. He looks at
Sean
her.
Noticed them, hid them.
Yes.
Kale did not.
Exactly.
Got it.
He looks at her and just leaves. Now he's in his bedroom, and he notices an indentation on the sheets where Sean was sitting.
What?
Because it's like, he's super meticulous. The bed was made.
perfectly.
Yeah. and he picks up the phone that was next to his bed.
And he hits redial.
Kim, you're getting all kinds of bonus points. What is it? Because it's not star 69. That's how you... what was star 69 when we were kids?
To find the number that just called.
Oh, so then he does star 69, I guess.
Can you just hit redial? Like the number that was called from your phone, you can just redial.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that's what he does.
Star 69, I think, is the number that called you.
That's right. Yeah. So he just hits redial, picks up the phone. Last number that was called was, your card has been activated. So he's like, what the fuck? Gets a furious face, and we see him kind of pull the key out of his shirt.
Yeah.
Now we're back with Sean, and he is pulling up to Kale's house in his own car, which is an orange Bug.
Oh.
Which is funny because I've been trying to manifest an orange car, but also super noticeable in a neighborhood that has Maseratis driving around it. It's like a beat up 1970s orange Bug. I'm like, motherfucker, you look like it. He stands out like a fucking orange Bug on a street.
Yeah.
And we're back at the restaurant with Derek friend, and he's like giving everyone their keys. Like he's basically like, we're closed, and handing everyone their keys. And he's trying to get out of there. And Sean calls him and is like, where the fuck are you? And Derek friend is like, I'm trying to get out of here. As he's saying this, Sean hears a scream from the house. Then he hears, okay, the cops are coming.
Oh, good.
So here come the cops down the street. They're knocking on the door. Kale comes to the door. And he's like, what can I help you with, officer? And they're like, we got a call about something at your house. And then a woman comes to the door.
What?
A brunette woman in like one of his shirts. And she's like, is everything okay? And the cops are talking to both of them. The lady cop kind of brings the woman down the stairs a little bit and is like, can I talk to you privately? And then everyone is just kind of chatting and laughing.
Is this the same woman that was tied up or a different woman?
Unclear. Difficult to tell.
Okay.
She definitely does not look like she was tied up mere moments ago.
Right.
Because the woman that was tied up, her hair is a fucking mess. She's got like tear stains and mascara. Like she looks busted. This would take some time to clean her up to make her not look like a kidnap victim for sure.
Okay.
But then again, I'm like, are we dealing with some sort of warlock in this? I don't know what world we're in. What is happening?
Right.
So Sean is in the car and he just sees the cops and Kale and the brunette kind of laughing together. Oh, it's all been some sort of mix up. The cops leave. Kale and the woman go back inside, sort of arms around each other.
I'm concerned.
Yeah. So now we're back with the friend, and he quickly like leaves money on the hostess stand for the owner of the restaurant, being like, I gotta go. Here's your money. Like, here's your cut. Bye. And bolts out of there. Back in the car with Sean, he's watching, and he now sees Kale come out of the house again with the woman in her clothes, and he kisses her goodbye by her car, and she leaves. Mm-hmm. As she leaves, Kale spots the orange Bug. He starts to walk over to it very slowly. Mm-hmm. Sean manages to duck down, but he now can't see because he's ducked down. And Kale is just standing in the middle of the street staring at the car. And Sean, we see, is like trying to bide his time. Like, when has he left? Did he see me? How? Like, that is a situation where like, I don't know what I would do. Like, I'd just be like, I guess I'm laying here for the rest of my life.
So real. Yeah, you're like,
for the rest of my life. So Sean is like, I have to peek up at some time. So he kind of like peeks up. He's gone. Someone at the window. It's friend. Okay. Knocks on the window. And his friend says, his friend apparently is in this movie as well in terms of things not adding up, because his friend goes, why didn't you just give her the phone? And I was like, oh yeah, why didn't he just like hand her the phone to like call the police? And he goes, because I fucking panicked, you asshole. And he's like,
to give the tied up girl the phone?
Yeah, like he's like, before you left, why didn't you give her the phone so that the cops could have like She could be like, I'm tied up in, you know what I mean? Yeah. So the friend is like, it's okay. I get it. Make another call. And Sean says, for all I know, he's got a stack of brunettes in there and like, he's just going to keep getting out of it. And he's like, she and he got there so fast. And I think what he's referring to is like, he drives off in the Maserati. Sean can't be that far behind him. Mm-hmm. And somehow within that time, Kale has gotten another chick there. They've boned. Then the police get there. Like, it just all... And he's like, how did that happen so fast? And I'm like, how did that happen so fast? But regardless, he's like, calling the cops isn't going to work because clearly he can make them go away. So what does he decide to... What do they decide to do? And what do you decide to do? He no longer like trusts the cops to do anything in this moment.
Right. Let's see. I'm going to keep calling the cops because I don't want to die.
That's
and
Kim.
I don't want her to die.
Okay.
So I'm not going to give up on them.
Okay.
Plus, like, I don't know, that brunette chick just left. Whatever. Well, I'm not going to give up on them.
Okay.
And then he is going to... I feel like he like wants to figure out a way to like break in and save her. But I don't know how he'd go about doing that. I mean, maybe they maybe
I'll give you a clue.
Please.
It was something I forgot to take note of in summer of 84. I would need to go into the house at this time.
Well, my thought was they kind of stake out, also like summer of 84, like stake out the place to kind of watch him to like see when he leaves.
Okay.
And then try to break in.
2 points. Yeah. They wait till he leaves. But yes, you get a point for not giving up on the cops. So what he says is, for all we know, he's got a stack of brunettes in there. So we wait for him to leave and we use these. And he holds up a hacksaw and like some other fucking tool, basically to break into the house. So now we are back at the house of the first family with the Doberman. Mm-hmm. The cops are there because the family did report a break-in. There was like, he left a window open or some shit. And maybe he did steal something. I can't remember. It's kind of inconsequential. But basically, like, they got caught. Mm-hmm. The cops came to that first house. So now we're back in the car with Sean and Derek Friend. And Derek Friend pulls out a switchblade as well. Because he's like, I'm not going to go in there with just a hacksaw. Like, I'm going to defend myself. So you have a switchblade now, too. Then they see the Maserati leave. And they immediately run up to the house. Well, all of a sudden, floodlights, motion sensor. And they see that around the back, there's a window that's open with just a screen there. So they slice the screen and they climb in. Back in the car with Kale, he's on the phone with the cops.
No, fuck.
And he says, I'd like to report a break-in.
Fuck.
In progress at my neighbor's. So, and then he hangs up. So now they get up to the door, the office door, okay, that was fortified. And Sean says, wait a minute, where's the massive lock? Like it just looks like a normal office door now. Like it's not even locked. It just like, I can just go in. And so he just goes in the door. He opens it and it's just a normal fucking office. Like there's nothing in there. He's like, there wasn't even carpet here before. Like she was chained right here. There's nothing there. And so at that point, they hear the cops coming again. They run out the back as the cops come in and they run up into the hills to escape. back in the car with Kale. He's talking to someone in the back seat.
Oh, no.
And he says, hey there, don't let tears distract you from our work. Comportment is a virtue. I had to look up comportment.
Please tell me.
It just means behavior, which I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. Behavior is a virtue. Well, what kind of behavior? Because it literally is just, it's not good behavior. It's literally just, the word means behavior.
Maybe like behaving oneself.
Geostormed! Okay. So he's got her in the back of the car.
Fuck.
And he says, you were such a help. You've earned the next stage in your evolution. And then he says, the vulgar shall be corrupted.
What?
I'm like, okay. So now we're back in the car with Sean and Derek Friend. And he says, Sean says to Derek Friend, that window wasn't open. He left it for us.
Right.
And he says, take me to the police station. And Derek Friend says, no, just make another call. And he's like, no, they need to see this picture that I took of her and my face. And Derek Friend says, she's probably already dead. And Sean holds the picture up to Derek and he's like, that's someone's little girl, which is an argument I fucking hate because I'm like, or it's just a human. Like, why is it that you can't have empathy for another person unless you somehow relate it to you? Because like he says, he's like, what if that was your sister? Yeah. And I'm like, or just a human person.
Right.
We don't need it just to be related to you for you to want to help another human being. Stepping off my soapbox. So now they're fighting in the parking lot. And because they've like driven off, they're in like the parking lot where they were looking through their stolen stuff before. And Derek Friend is terrified of going to jail. And he tells some story about, I honestly like wasn't listening. It was like something about his brother's in jail and he might have snitched on somebody. So like if he goes to jail, they're going to kill him. So like it's a bigger deal for him to go to jail, blah, 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 whatever. And so Sean is like, fine, you were never there, but that's the only lie I'm telling. So basically he's like, I won't implicate you, but like I'm going to the fucking cops. So now we're back with Kale and he has driven out to sort of this really in the middle of nowhere wooded area. Because remember, we're in Portland. So like there's a lot of Pacific Northwest forest. Right. Okay.
The creepy Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
I hope we don't get serial killed when we go there.
I know. God. Well, we're not going to go into the woods by ourselves in the middle of the night in the snow. So
we aren't?
Oh, except for that tour that we're taking by ourselves in the middle of our night in this. Yeah. So in the middle of the woods, there's this old wooden shack type place. Mm-hmm. And Kale says, I only show this special place to special people.
Fuck you.
Now, all of the lines that I'm saying are almost verbatim and they're not sounding very good because I'm not David Tennant and it's not a great script. But just pretend that I'm David Tennant and I'm somehow selling this like really mediocre script and be super impressed with him because I was. He then turns on all the lights in the shack from his phone. And it's a much more high-tech shack than what it looks like from the outside. Right. And now they're inside the shack and it looks like sort of a reimagined stable. In the sense that like it looks like there may be horse stalls in there, but there's also sort of like a place where you can kind of live as a human as well. Right. But looks very kind of old timey for sure. And he is with the girl and he says to her, we don't need the gag anymore. And he picks up a collar. And he yells at the collar, like just goes, ha, ah, and it shoots sparks.
What?
Which means that every time she tries to yell, it shocks her. And she says, what do you want from me?
Right.
And he says, oh, God, your dressage, your training, it's a pyramid. You're learning rhythm and routine. And she says, what's at the top? And he says, freedom. And then they both look over at a giant cage.
What?
Right. So now the next scene is that same girl and she's standing in a bathtub, like having just bathed, holding a towel up to her. And she's like, yes, I cleaned exactly as you asked. Circular motions, correct soap and lotion in the right order. She puts the lotion in the basket. And he just kind of stares at her. And she drops her towel. And he looks at her in disgust. And he's just like, what are you doing? Throws the towel at her and says, go to bed. Like, he's like disgusted by her. So then he...
I don't wanna.
It's a bummer, man. So then he locks her in the cage that we saw, and he leaves. She's sitting there and she looks at the wall and she says she sees tick marks on the wall, and someone else has written the word help. So
I don't want to get kidnapped.
Yeah, it seems like a bummer, doesn't it? Like, I feel like there's other things I'd rather do than get kidnapped, don't you think? So we should probably cross that off of our sync trip, the itinerary part where we said get kidnapped. Kim, you know I would always save you.
Thank you.
I got you. Nothing's ever going to happen to my Bernsey.
Thank you.
So now we're at the police station, and we're with Sean, and he's talking to a detective, police officer, whatever the fuck. And he is just like not buying it. And he's like, for all I know, this is your girlfriend. And he's like, it's not my girlfriend. I was robbing this house. And I saw her because I was trying to rob the house. Mm-hmm. And the detective is like, I don't get why you're here. And he's like, because there's a girl chained up in someone's house. And he's like, do whatever you want to me, arrest me, deport me. Because I guess he's like over 18 at this point and he's from Ireland. I don't know how deportation works, but whatever. The cop doesn't believe him, and he literally like tells him everything.
What the fuck?
I know. That's why I'm like,
I don't even understand when he's like, it could be your girlfriend. What's
basically, like, I guess, I don't know. But I'm like, he has a picture of a girl tied up in the like, he has a picture of her.
Yeah.
But they just like don't believe him. Oh, well, at one point they look at his record and he's got a bunch of like petty theft things on there. So basically they're just saying like he's not a credible,
he's not trustworthy.
He's not trustworthy. But again, I'm like, there's a picture of a girl, and I guess what he's saying is like, this could be your girlfriend. Like, this could be a picture of anybody. You guys could be doing some weird sex play thing. Like, you don't have any proof that this is like in his house.
But it's still like, how is that getting back at anyone?
And also there's like a guy with like a record coming here saying, arrest me, do whatever you want. I was robbing someone's house. Yeah. And I'm giving myself up.
All that my record proves is that I rob places, which is what I was doing.
Which is what I was doing.
I was like, if anything, it proves my story.
Exactly. So next morning, the detective that he was talking to does end up pulling up to Kale's house.
Okay.
And it looks like he's doing it maybe kind of off the clock.
Right.
You know? And no answer. So he goes around the back of the house, and he sees an open window where the screen was slashed. And all of a sudden, Kale's behind him. And
that fucker's always behind you.
He's so good. And so the detective is like, can I come in? And Kale just stares at him.
What?
Yeah. You want a coffee? And the detective is like, sure. So they head on in.
Can we talk about how non-responses are the creepiest responses?
Yep, it totally is. It was so scary.
Just staring is like, what are you doing?
And it's also David Tennant, so it's not like a less talented actor who feels like he has to do something in his stare. He has to look creepy or something like that. It's David Tennant who's just, no, I'm just going to stare at you.
Yeah.
And whatever you think is happening behind my eyes, maybe. Like, it's just
maybe.
It's, oh God, it was so good. So Kale is just showing him all around the house. And he's like, this is this room, this is this room. And the detective says, kind of tongue in cheek, no girl chained up in the office. Oh. And Kale just says, sorry to disappoint you. Because he's shown him the office and there's no girl in there.
Yeah.
So Kale then takes him to the garage and he's like, here's the garage, you know, whatever. And he looks over at the tool wall and he sees something's missing.
Right.
And he walks over. He walks over and the detective, so it's like a very organized tool wall where like maybe someone who knows tools better than me could have seen what was blank and known that it was bolt cutters missing.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't your stuff.
Yeah.
Because the detective says, lent them to a friend. And he says, I never lend tools to a friend. They never seem to come back. And Cale says, I'll get them back. And then he notices that also one of the wrenches is like in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. So he puts it back in the right place.
And you're saying he, you mean Cale or the cop?
Cale. Cale is so Cale and the cop notice that something was missing at the same time.
Right. Okay.
So Cale walks over and they have the exchange about like, don't lend tools to your friends, whatever. Then Cale notices that also a little wrench is out of place. So he moves it to where it's supposed to be and then turns to the detective and says, I'm so sorry you had to see that. Like he was like really upset that it was like out of place. And
I'm creeped out by him.
Yeah. And then the detective also sees the murder room door.
Please? Yes.
And Cale is looking at it. He almost looks nervous. And the detective says, can I see what's in there? And Cale says, sure. So he opens the door. It's empty.
What the fuck?
There's nothing fucking in there. It's just like, it looks like an unused storage space. Nothing in there, which also a little suspicious because I'm like,
even like a completely empty room is like
empty
bizarre,
room is a little weird. So now we're back in the kitchen and they're having coffee.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And the detective is like, do you know anyone that would like want to hurt you? And Kayla's like, no. And he's like, but I have been getting some prank calls lately, like just hang-ups. You know, someone calls and then hangs up. And he's like, I don't know who would want to hurt me, but, you know, I am a single guy. I have money. I date a lot of women. Those women have exes. And the detective is like, say no more. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, that's not a thing. That's not a thing.
Fuck off.
Like, no girl. That's not a fucking thing. So as the detective is leaving, like he finishes his coffee and he's like, best coffee I've ever had.
Well, we are in Portland, Seattle.
Also, I'm like really fucking rich. So I like buy my coffee from a fucking unicorn's asshole. And as he's leaving, he kind of does the Columbo thing where he's like, oh, one more thing. And kind of turns around. And he's like, that screen, it's ripped. The window is open. And Cale says, oh, yeah. I had to break into my own house after a run. Really should hide a key somewhere. And the detective says, be sure to hide it well. And he leaves.
I feel like that's not a good cover because the police have a record of someone being called for breaking in that house.
Agreed. Agreed. Geostormed! So now we're back at the station.
Which also goes back to what's his face saying he broke into that house. He's like, no, you could even just check the records.
I said I broke in and now you're like, yeah. Geostormed! Okay. So now we're back at the station and Sean was in like a holding cell, you know?
Okay.
And the detective says, you're free to go. Aaron Drake isn't pressing charges for you breaking into his house.
Aaron Drake?
His last name is Aaron Drake. It's what the fuck? Cale Aaron Drake isn't pressing charges for you breaking into his house, which you just asked him if someone broke into his house, and he had
lied
an excuse
about it, which seems suspect.
Yeah. Do you see what? Yeah.
I mean, I thought this was going somewhere, but clearly it's not.
Right. So he keeps trying to convince them. And the detective says, did this guy steal your girlfriend or something? And he's like, no, God.
I'm just trying to save someone's life.
Yeah. So now we're back at Cale's and he is watching security footage of who's he what cutting the screen and breaking into the house. He then looks outside again. The orange bug is there again. And I'm like, fucking rent a car, Sean, dude.
Come on.
Fucking rent a car. It's like $25 a day. Like, just, you have an orange bug. It is conspicuous. Conspicuous? Is that the word I mean?
Correct.
Yeah. So Kale then goes to a drawer and he opens it up and we see that it's got a passport in it and like several burner phones and then also this little box of doohickeys. So he opens up the box and it looks like little like pebbles almost, little white pebbles. And he puts one on a lamp in his bedroom. And then we see him go out and put one on the tire of the orange car. So I'm like,
so where's Sean?
Is Sean not in the car? I'm confused.
Okay.
I don't have an answer to that. But he puts a little thing on the tire.
We're thinking it's like a tracker, maybe.
Yes.
Situation?
Yeah. That's what it clearly is. We realized later. So now we're back at the stable, and Kale shows the girl a pic of Sean and says, "Is this who came to see you?" She says nothing, but he takes that as a yes. And then he says, "Good. You're so good." And he pets her like a fucking animal. Now, you are now Sean again. Mm-hmm. The cops won't listen to you. You know that there is a girl who's about to be murdered or already murdered. What is the next thing that you do? The cops won't listen.
He's going to start following Kale.
Okay.
To find out where she is.
Okay.
Find out where he's going to hopefully find the stable that he doesn't know exists, but find it. I'm going to... I don't know anymore. I don't know. Okay. Fuck you, Kale.
I know.
Your fucking name.
Kale.
Stupid
It's really hard to say it other than that.
Okay. Fuck. Okay. I'm going to utilize my criminal connections.
Okay.
And what's my goal again?
Honestly, I don't know. Your goal is to stay alive, and I guess your goal is to also keep this chick alive. Because
I feel like that's where we are.
Yeah,
and that's how I'm feeling. I want to stay alive, but I also want to keep her alive
because I do think you and I are the same in that if we didn't do that, it would eventually like emotionally kill us.
Eat me alive.
Yeah.
Can I just figure it out real quick?
Yeah.
Because I'm on a train.
Yes.
I'm on a train.
This train needs to make a pee stop soon. So if we could just, I don't know why I have to pee so much this episode.
And then I'm going to get my own kidnapping friends.
Ooh, okay.
And some guns.
Okay.
And we're going to kidnap Kale and make him we're going to use himself against himself.
Okay.
And we're going to make him take us to her and then save her and ourselves. And probably, you know what? Just fucking kill him.
I'm giving you a half a point because what you said he does is not what he immediately does, but I don't want to feel unsafe again. So I gave you half a point because I would like to stay alive. What he does immediately is he goes to the FBI because
wow,
yeah,
interesting. That crossed my mind at some point, but it seemed like we gave up on the
I guess
system.
he goes above and beyond. Now the detective like kind of gave him the idea a little bit, which I didn't really think about. So maybe this would have occurred to you sooner, but like obviously that girl is probably a missing person. Mm-hmm. Is it the FBI that mainly deals with missing No, cops deal with missing persons too, don't they?
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, he's like, file a missing persons report. And he decides to like file a missing persons report with the FBI. And so he takes the picture and he's waiting to talk to someone. He clearly made his report, but is still waiting to like discuss it with someone. And Lady FBI comes out and she's like, we have everything we need from you. You should go home. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I just need to know she's going to be okay. Lady FBI is just stoic because obviously like they can't tell you that. And also like it's an ongoing investigation at this point. You've made a report. They can't be like, sure, we'll call you at every step of the way.
Right.
So he leaves. As he's leaving the big FBI building, Cale is behind a pillar.
Oh my God.
And we see him and he's standing there with a syringe. Sean does not see him. Sean goes out to his car and he got some fucking rock star parking. He got rock star parking like right outside the entrance of the FBI. Nice job in his orange Bug. And so Cale is watching him and Sean just starts like hitting his own car. Like he's so frustrated. And Cale just smiles. Doesn't use the syringe, just smiles. Sean goes home. Cale is following him. Initially, I was like, is Cale following him in a fucking Maserati? Because that's pretty fucking conspicuous. He's not. He's got a follow-y car, I guess.
Got it.
Because Sean does not live in like a great neighborhood. He does not live in a Maserati neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So Sean is in his apartment now. He's showering. In comes Cale. Because, you know, if you're concerned about being caught by a super wealthy kidnapper, don't bother locking your door. I'm sure it'll be fine. In comes Cale. And Sean doesn't see him because he's in the shower. Cale points a gun at him through the shower curtain and just does like a pretend shoot. Like he's just like pew pew. Then he goes over to Sean's computer and he steals everything on his computer. Whatever the fuck. Sean is just scrubbing away on himself. Can't be bothered. And Cale picks up his camera.
I still don't understand how the fuck. Where was Sean when Cale put the little tracker on the Bug?
Taking a nap?
That doesn't make any sense because clearly all of this is happening because he got the tracker on the Bug. But like,
I think it was nap time.
Where was Sean?
I think it was just
Geostormed.
It was nap time. So
okay, back to Sean's
like
house.
maybe he was at the police station, but why wouldn't he drive his car to the police station?
Why would his car be sitting outside of Cale's and his body be at the police station? He took an Uber from Cale's house to the police station.
He sure did. Where do you need to be picked up, sir? I need to be picked up at the home of the guy that I'm stalking right now who may or may not have kidnapped someone.
I'm at the orange Bug. Can't miss it.
Yep. It's the one that the serial killer is staring at right now. That's how you'll know it's me. So Cale picks up his digital camera and he sees a pic of the boob pic of the girlfriend. And he then hears the shower being turned off and quickly leaves.
Oh, jeez.
Sean gets out of the shower and looks and sees that his door is wide the fuck open.
Uh-oh.
But it's fine because he doesn't do anything. No big deal. What's the problem? It's no big deal. It was just a little breeze. So now we're back at the FBI.
Like the entryway to his apartment.
Yep.
The doorway.
Wide open.
The enter-exit door of the apartment. The full apartment. Not just his bedroom.
Nope.
Yeah. Cool.
Just open to the outside.
Neat.
Open to the elements. So now we're back at the FBI. And Lady FBI is like, can you bring me the trust fund kid report?
Okay.
That's all we hear. So now we're at the restaurant where they are valets, and the owner of the restaurant picks up the phone and is like, Nino's. And we see that it's Cale on the other end of the phone, and he's saying, what kind of place are you running there? Me and my wife saw one of your valets at the police station. What kind of business are you running? You're employing criminals. I sure hope everyone in your kitchen and you are all legally here. And hangs up.
Okay.
So now he's freaked the owner of the restaurant out. We're back with Sean, and Sean sees Riley, his girlfriend, at school. He goes to her school and he's like, I have to talk to you. And she's like, I have a presentation in class. I'll be done in 90 minutes. You can tell me then. Meet me at my place. Back with Derek friend, who's on the phone with Sean after Sean has just talked to his girlfriend. And Sean says, I can't work today at the valet place. And Derek Friend is like, it's cool. I got your back. I'll handle it. As he says this, he's walking up to Nino's restaurant and he sees another valet stand there. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, this is our account. And the guy is like, no, it's not. Nino hired us. Nino comes out, tells Derek Friend to leave. And he's like, I don't want any trouble. I got that weird call. Get the fuck out of here. The other valet says something shitty or racist to him or something. So they get into a fight and they start punching each other. Blah, blah, blah. Now we're back at the stable. And our girl is eating a bowl of broth. And before she's finished, Kale, who's sitting next to her, says, you're excused. She then puts her own collar back on and walks into the cage and locks herself in the cage. She's clearly being broken for sure. Kale then goes to his computer and he uploads all the shit that he got from Sean's computer onto his computer. And he finds the password to Sean's Facebook account. I guess all of his passwords. Everybody just saves files of all their passwords to everything on their computer. And he logs into Sean's Facebook account and he finds his girlfriend Riley and he sends a message that says, it's over, bitch. And then sets Sean's status to single.
Whoa.
And then laughs maniacally. If you could can you do your laugh?
Mahaha.
Yeah, basically. So now we're in class with Riley. Okay. And it's a big lecture hall. And everyone in the classroom starts getting notifications on their phone. And when they look at their phone, they then look back at Riley and kind of snicker. Then Riley also gets a notification on her phone. She picks it up. It's the naked boob photo of her.
Shit.
Now, if you could just quickly suspend your disbelief, because how did he get the phone number of everyone in Sean's girlfriend's lecture class to send those text message notifications to?
They were texts or just like a Facebook notification?
It was text messages. But also like, anyway, I guess we're just supposed to, let's just suspend. Geostormed! So now we're back at Sean's apartment with Derek Friend, and Derek Friend has ice on his face. And he's like, explaining what happened. And then Sean gets a voicemail from Riley. And he listens to it, and it's her crying. And she says, I don't know what I did. You're such an asshole. And hangs up. So he leaves. He's like, what the fuck? Now we're back with Kale. And we see that Kale is watching where Sean is going because he has the little magic pebble on his orange bug that he put there while Sean was taking a nap. So Sean gets to Riley's and the roommate of Riley opens the door and won't let him in, and Riley won't talk to him. So he leaves, and when he gets back to his car, he sees that all of his fucking tires are smashed. No, slashed. And his windows are smashed. Slashed and smashed. His car is just slashed and smashed. And he's like, fuck. And then all of a sudden, a car is speeding towards him and tries to run him over and speeds away. So he does a little flip over the car and narrowly misses. Then he gets up and gets a call on his phone from an unknown caller. He picks up the phone and he says, do you have home insurance? No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't. It was not a spam call. He says, you know why you're not in their little jail right now? Because you're in mine. I will correct you. So Kale then hangs up the phone and throws it out his own window because he's got all those phones. Riley and Rumi are now talking on a bench in a park. And Riley is listening to a bunch of frantic messages from Sean. And she's like, maybe he's telling the truth. It's completely out of character. And the Rumi is not having it. Riley says, I'm going to go talk to him. But she accidentally leaves her phone on the bench with Rumi. And so Rumi notices it. And then she's like, Riley. But like doesn't say it loud. Like she didn't walk that far away. Like you could just be like, Riley, your phone. Oh, sorry. Let me grab my phone. But instead she's just like, Riley. And then walks several steps behind her for a while.
Trying to get the attention of a waitress.
Yeah, pretty much. Excuse. But doesn't like speed up or kind of run after her. She just walks at Riley's pace, 10 paces behind her, I guess, until she comes to a stop. I don't know. It was unclear. But it was super convenient because she gets to witness something in one moment.
Okay.
So Sean then So Riley's roommate is just walking behind her, hoping that eventually she'll catch up to give her phone back. And we're back with Sean, who's now at his parents' house. And he wants to borrow the stepdad's car. But when he goes in, stepdad is drinking and despondent. And he says, I just got fired. And he's like, they accused me of stealing company property. And I told them that I didn't. But then when they checked my car, there was $10,000 of equipment in my car. And Sean is like, fuck. And then at that moment, his mom comes in and is like, I got fucking fired too. And they're like, what happened? She's like, there was a report that I assaulted a kid, but I didn't. And Sean's like, okay, I gotta tell you guys something. So he is like gonna tell them everything. So now Riley is walking down the street with her friend, 10 paces behind her. And she turns down this very sort of like narrow-ish alley, but it's an alley where like there are stairs that go down to like other apartments kind of thing. And she's walking. Kill! Smashes her into a wall, smashes her head into the wall again, and throws her down the stairs and walks off.
Shit.
Well, luckily, Rumi was just 10 paces behind and was able to see the whole thing. So she looks over the railing and sees that Riley is, dead on the ground or whatever on the ground. And presumably Rumi calls the doctors. The doctors? Hello, doctors. We have an emergency. Please bring one of your vehicles. Now, Sean and his family are packing up. And because he's like, we got to get out of here. Like, he knows where I live. We got to go. And Sean is then looking at the picture of the girl that he took, and he gets an idea. He goes into his brother's room, who is inexplicably still playing video games. Like, the brother cannot be bothered. He is not packed. He has not pushed pause. He is just chilling out, playing video games. And he goes into his brother's room, and he's like, I'm going to use your computer. He says, do you still have that photo editing software on your computer? Conveniently, he still does. So he puts the picture into the computer, and he does a reverse color thing. Because he realizes that there's a little bit of the check image still on there. But if he reverses the color, though, I'm like, you used a flash, because the flash is what allowed you to see that there was a girl there. So the flash would also illuminate the check that you were trying to take a picture of. But it's fine. Just, if you could just suspend once again, just remain suspended in the air. Geostorm! So he like reverses the color, and he sees that there's a P.O. box address on there that's different than the address of the house where he knows he lives. And the P.O. box says P.O. box blah blah blah, Sandy, Oregon, or whatever, wherever the fuck. So he walks over to a map of Oregon that's conveniently in his brother's room, and he looks at the map, and he sees that there's a place called Sandy, Oregon. Kim, what does he decide to do, and what do you decide to do?
I'm just gonna go ahead and
take a nap in the orange bug.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Let's see. I think he's going to go to the P.O. box.
Okay.
And investigate further. Ugh.
And what do you do?
I'm going to... Fuck. I guess I'll... What do I do? I'm going to take that information to my FBI pals.
2 dinglings. It's a double ding kind of day.
Mwahaha.
Mwahaha. So he begs his dad for the car again. He's like, I'll meet you at the hotel. And he sort of convinces him, but really just steals the car. Takes the truck. What? Takes truck? Oh, he takes the truck. I'll meet you at the hotel. That's what I wrote. Okay. So now we're back at the stable and Kale is just doing some dishes. And we see that in the big farm style sink, there are 2 plates, 1 spoon. Kale loses his mind and he stands there and he's like, "Aah!" Like he's so mad. And he walks over to the cage and he's so mad and she just points at the floor. And we see that she's pointing at a spoon. Mm-hmm. So she's like basically saying, calm down, bro. You dropped the spoon. It's right there. Mm-hmm. I didn't try to steal it to fucking dig a hole in my cell.
Although I'd like to. Scoop my eyeballs out right now.
Yep. That would be preferable. I too was looking for a spoon while watching this. And so, but he's still like salty about it. So he picks up the spoon and then just goes, no breakfast. But once again, this is David Tennant. So even that I had to rewind him saying no breakfast because I was just like, you're just the best actor. Like you're just the best actor. Now we're back at the FBI. FBI lady is trying to do this. She's trying to fucking solve this shit. And she's talking to like her little other FBI partner. And she's like, this is the same MO as that dude in Memphis and the same as that dude in Denver. And her little FBI friend is like, Christ, you're trust fund phantom again? He's like, you got to find a hobby. And she's like, no, I really think this is him. And he says, you think Kale Ehrenreich is the Valkenburg kid all grown up? And she's like, yep, he likes Portland for some reason. And then he says, but your valet friend who gave you all this information, he's not credible. So now we have another flash of the horse murder that we saw in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And then we see that Kale wakes up from that nightmare. Mm-hmm. And he looks really upset and he's holding a gun and he just looks like he's about to fucking blow, like lose his mind. And he walks over or kind of like stomps over to the cage and just points the gun at her, just like really agitated. And he's like, out of order comes chaos. I create the order. I create the chaos. Not you, not him. And then yells something. The subtitle said indistinct speech. So okay. I don't know what he yelled, but he yelled a word. And doesn't shoot her, but just is all fucking riled up. So now Sean gets a call from the hospital because he was his girlfriend's emergency contact.
That plays out for me. You seem confused by it, but sure. You were my emergency contact on a fuck ton of things.
I don't get the sense that they've been dating very long. Like, I don't know that it would be like me having made like Travis my emergency contact back before I was dating. Like,
you weren't dating at all, Ketryn. You weren't in a relationship. These people seem to be in a relationship.
They were.
It was on Facebook.
Yeah, it was on. You know what? You're right. It was Facebook official. What the fuck am I talking about? So he goes to the hospital, and she's awake, but she can't talk because she's got a bunch of shit in her mouth. Like she's intubated, which I have to look this up. Nobody's going to care but me. I don't believe they keep you conscious when you're intubated because it's incredibly painful. But she's like awake and intubated but can't talk. And so he's like telling her everything. Like he's like, this is my fault because I fucking steal shit and I got in over my head and blah, blah, blah. And she's listening. And then she picks up a notepad and she's writing something. And she turns it to him and it says, go away. And I was like, I mean, you're not wrong. Like, get out of here. So he leaves. Sean calls Derek. Derek is walking into his house and he's got a bunch of iPhones as he walks into the house, and he's kind of like trying to juggle the phone and hold all the iPhones, and we see that he whoop, 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 whoop.
Hashtag my life.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, we see that Kim used to only drop her phone. Kim used to be dropping her phone more often than her phone wasn't dropping. It was such a special time. And it was just...
It's not over. I'll tell you that much.
But your phone's not currently cracked, is it?
No, I just learned to put things on top of it. Like a...
Gotcha. It's not that it's dropping any less. It's that the technology of keeping it from cracking has improved.
Correct.
Got it. Yeah. So he doesn't drop it, but he accidentally hits like video chat on his phone.
Yeah.
And so as he's walking in, Sean sees that he's got like a video chat request, and he's like, no, I can't video with you. I'm driving right now. And Sean says, video chat. And as he says this, Kale pops out of the closet with a baseball bat and hits him in the head. He drops his phone and the iPhones go everywhere. Just, it's raining iPhones. Okay.
You can see yourself out.
I'm leaving right now. So he fucking is hitting Derek Friend in the head with his baseball bat. And, you know, he's dropped his phone and all of the other phones. And he's looking around Derek Friend's room and he's like, look at this squalor. I don't even know what he sees in you. You're beyond correction. Shoots him in the head and then puts the gun in his hand, so it kind of looks sort of like a suicide. All right. I can tell you right now, you're not going to get this answer.
Oh, great.
But
I look forward to trying.
Yeah. But it was the one thing in the script where I was like, that was pretty smart. Except it was kind of just, yeah. What does Sean do? What do you do? So the phone was not hung up.
Okay. He accepts the video call. So now he can see.
Okay.
I don't know what he can see. Probably just the ceiling, I'm assuming.
Okay.
Unless there's something that I don't. I mean, I can't see the pictures of the movie that you're talking about.
No,
so
you can't?
Entire.
Okay.
Okay.
You're so close. I mean, like you're halfway there.
I mean, he does that. And then he, because we're on video chat, what does he do? Maybe three-way calls like the FBI lady or something, like someone to be like, watch Kale kill my friend.
Okay. And what do you do?
Oh, fuck. I don't.
And you can do fucking
anymore.
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? Take a nap.
Like, I'm so tired from so many dumb things.
Yeah.
What do I do? Fuck. I really cared at first, and I've slowly stopped caring.
Yep. I hear you, girl. I heard that.
I'm gonna... Okay. I guess I still want to save that girl.
I mean, do we?
Now it's like everyone else is dead too. Like my family's shit. So.
Well, they're not dead. They're just
not
went
dead, but all right.
But your soul is dead.
My soul is dead. All right. All right. I feel like, let's see. I know that Kale is there because of my video chat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go there.
To Derek's house?
To Derek's house. And I'm going to, well, no, that seems like I'll die. But I just want to get rid of Kale.
Yeah.
I'm so over him.
Me too.
He's really like
exhausting.
Yeah. He's really just like ruining my vibes.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Good vibes
I'd
only.
like to get rid of him.
Okay.
But he seems better at things than I am. All right. What's my goal again?
Honestly, I don't know.
Why am I here? All right.
You have an overactive hero complex.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I've exhausted it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, can I just... Okay. Well, you know what?
You're Kim.
All my people are gone.
Yeah. What are you, Kim,
I'm
going to
take
do?
my family and all the stuff that we have that equals money and like go back to Ireland.
That's 1.5 dings. Yeah, bitch. Let's just go. Honestly.
Bye. Like you're dead. You just got murdered.
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend's dead or whatever.
Whatever the
she
fuck.
wants me to go away.
She wants me to go. All right. So here's where you got a 0.5 point. So this was smart. So Sean accepts the video chat and then starts screaming, like yelling, like, Derek. Kale hears it and is like, where is that coming from? Picks up the phone, looks at it, screenshot.
Okay.
So now he has a picture of Kale in Derek's home. So he's like, one more thing I can take to the FBI. So Kale loses his mind and like smashes the phone. Yeah, smart. So when you said accept the video chat, I was like, oh, nice. She's almost there. So Sean is now in the truck and he's calling the police. And the police are like, we've actually already had multiple calls about that residence. Sean gets to Derek's house and cops are there and the news is there. Because I guess, neighbors heard a kerfuffle and a gunshot.
Right.
Sean then goes up to one of the cops and he says, I have a picture of the guy that did this. Want to see? And the cop is like, have a seat on the curb. I'm like, who are these police officers? Like, you literally have someone like giving you pictures, addresses, information, whatever. Because like if the cop had just said, how do you have that picture? He would have said, let me explain to you how I have this picture. Case closed. Problem solved. So cop brushes him off. So Sean decides to go to Kale's house that we've been to. He goes in through the window, which magically Kale did not fix. And he goes back into the office and he goes to the computer and he starts looking around for passwords of things. And he looks all over the house for something and he finds it. He finds keys to the Maserati. I guess Kale took a different car than the Maserati. He probably did take a different car.
Well,
he had that other car. So he gets in the passenger seat of the Maserati.
Less conspicuous car.
Right. Gets in the passenger seat of the Maserati. He scrolls through the dashboard, the little computer thing where you can put home.
Find Sandy, Oregon.
Sandy. There you go. Yeah. Nice job. And he takes a pic of where the pin is dropped on his phone. Because it's just a map of wilderness. It's like a pin drop in the middle of nowhere. Like it's basically like longitude and latitude because it's in the middle of nowhere. So he takes that pic and then goes back into the house when all of a sudden all the lights come on in the house. The TV goes on, the espresso machine goes on, everything goes on, the toaster whirs up, the oven goes on, everything. He tries to leave, all the doors lock. Lights off, beeping noise. He looks over, he opens a cabinet. There's a fucking bomb in there.
Whoa.
With 35 seconds left.
Shit.
Kim, what does he do? What do you do?
I mean,
stay in the house till it blows up.
Just give me sweet death at this point. Just kidding. All right, I'm gonna stay alive. Okay.
Kim chose sweet death.
Okay. 35 seconds.
I'm going to give you one more clue. Yes, I told you all the doors locked, but please suspend your disbelief and continue spinning in your aerial swing up in the air.
Cool. I'm going to hit the garage door key opener on the Maserati that's inside the Maserati.
Yep.
And run out through there. And so is he.
Yep.
Sweet.
Kale's got all this shit keyed up except for the garage.
Right.
So he actually goes into the garage, gets in the Maserati, and the fucking door is opening like so slow. And of course he gets out like right as the whole house blows up. So now we're back at the stable and Cale has just showered. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he's looking in the mirror over the sink, right? Mm-hmm. Then he bends down so we can't see him anymore. And when he comes back up, his hair is curly.
Okay.
He had sort of straight David Tennant hair.
Right.
Bends down, hair is curly.
Okay.
Straight hair, bends down for 1 second, hair is curly.
Okay. Is it a wig?
Don't know.
Okay.
Hair is curly. So
just a quick perm?
Yep. Just a quick perm. So spoiler alert. This is a movie about a warlock whose power is changing his hair.
And he's starting a hair salon.
Yep. Starting a hair salon. So
hey, who needs a quick perm?
Hey. So Sean is driving to Sandy in the Maserati. Cale is on the phone and he's having money wired to him by his money wiring person.
Right.
And the money wiring person has clearly known Cale for a long time because he says, "Really? You want me to wire that much to this place?" And he's like, "Yeah, do it." And money wiring guy is like, "Your parents wanted me to." And he's like, "Those people don't exist. I shouldn't have to correct you." Click. All right. So now we're back at the FBI, and the FBI is running face stuff on Sean's pic. So he did give the picture to the FBI at some point. I don't believe we saw that scene. I don't think. But I could have also just been taking a nap in the orange bug. I'm not sure.
Right.
So, so now we're in the woods, and Cale is uncovering a secret car in the woods. And he's also opening up a giant pit. Like it's got like a slidey door, and it's like a really deep pit. And he's shoveling some white stuff into it.
Uh-oh.
I am supposed to know that white stuff is lye.
Lye. I thought it was lye.
How?
I don't know. I just assumed.
Did you really? Are you shitting me?
I'm not.
Why did you think it was lye?
Because it just seemed like the next step.
Okay. Well, then I have a question for you about lye in a moment's time.
Great.
Girl, we're almost done. Don't worry.
Since I'm an expert on lye.
Well, apparently you are. You're like, "Oh, it was lye." I describe he's shoveling white stuff in. Lye? Okay.
It just seemed like the next step.
Apparently. I don't know anyone else in my life who is more of an expert on lye than what you've just demonstrated to me. So you're as good of a person to ask about the properties of lye as anybody in my life.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Yeah. So, all right. So now Sean is pulling up in the Maserati, but it's a big security gate. So it's like a big security gate and then just woods. Cause obviously it's kind of like where Laurie Strode lived. Yeah.
Current 2018 Halloween.
Exactly.
And
he's
no
like,
trespassing.
No trespassing. Sean is trying to trespass. And he's like, "Fuck, the security gate is locked." But he's like, the bolt cutters under the seat. So he takes the bolt cutters out, goes up to the gate. Oops, there's no bolts to cut. It's too thick. These won't work. The end.
Fuck.
So he decides to crawl through the gate and leave the car. So he as a human could crawl through the gate, but he wanted to bring the car with him because those Maseratis, they're great in the snow.
Right.
Really great traction.
Didn't know it was snowing, but sounds good.
Yeah. So now the FBI is looking at a map. I guess maybe Sean also sent them the P.O. box address, I guess. But again, that happened during my nap time, so I don't recall. And they're looking at the land and they're like, "This land is all federal land except for this one part that's owned by the Valkenburg Family Trust." And so all the FBI are like, "Code 3, call the judge, get a warrant, whoop, whoop, whoop." Mm-hmm. So now Sean is in the woods and he's traipsing through the woods looking for the residence, the stable house, looking all around, pulls out the picture of the map to see if he can figure out where the fuck he is. Now we're back in the...
He's going to latitude and longitude
He's going to latitude and longitude himself there, yes.
Cool.
So now we're in the car with the FBI people, and this is where we get a little bit of a history story dump.
Great.
So Lady FBI says the Valkenburgs had prized horses, and Dad was obsessed with his prized horses.
I bet he was.
Super obsessed. And the young boy, Kale,
was mad that his name was Kale.
Oh, yep. You've seen this movie? That's the only thing. So that gets funny in 1 second. So Kale wanted to impress his trainer because his dad wanted to turn him into a horseman.
Of course.
And he was 14 and she was in her 20s. And he wanted to impress his trainer by breaking a colt that wasn't ready. He ended up killing the horse. The trainer threatened to tell Dad, so he killed her.
Whoa.
So FBI dude says to FBI lady, because FBI lady is the one who knew this whole story, and FBI dude says, so now instead of breaking horses, finish the line.
He's breaking people.
It's exactly what she says.
Great.
Mwahaha. So we're back with Sean. He's running through the woods.
Like,
lay it on
why
him.
isn't he in jail? If the FBI knows this fact.
He was 14.
Oh, okay.
He maybe got out. Yeah. So Sean is running through the woods. He finds the stable and he sees a window and he holds his phone.
But so like this whole time, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. But like this whole time, Kale Vanderbeek has been known to the FBI.
Well, remember his name is Kale Aaron Drake, not Valkenberg. So I guess he changed his name.
Smooth.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So can we head back to the woods?
Yeah.
Oh, great. All right. So let's head back to the woods. He holds his phone up to the window, right?
Who's he?
Sean.
Sean.
And click, 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 starts taking pictures and then looks at the pictures he took. They were perfectly framed, no obstruction photos of kidnapped girl.
He is a photographer.
Right. Then I guess he pulls some things over so that he can look in with his eyeballs, which is, I don't know why he didn't do that in the first place. Maybe he wanted evidence. I don't know, whatever the fuck. So he goes over and they're looking at each other through the window. And he's like, I found her. And we get the Celtic adventure music again. Yep, exactly. And she screams, look out! And as she screams it, she gets shocked backwards and Sean gets hit in the head with a shovel. It's Kale. Sean's knocked out. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now we're with Kale, and Kale is bringing the girl out into the snow towards the pit. Mm-hmm. And she's like, just let me starve. Just lock me back up. And he says, that would be inelegant. And then he yells back to the house, wake up, Sean. And Kale says to the girl, I'm going to set you free, standing her next to the pit. Sean then wakes up. I wrote, why is Kale's hair curly now? And Sean says, take me instead.
Was it wet when it came back up curly?
But wet both times.
I was wet both times.
Straight wet, curly wet.
Oh,
now
okay.
curly dry.
I was like, to be fair, if I have straight hair and I wet it, it's immediately curly. But
in a matter of milliseconds.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, apparently Kim's a warlock as well.
But not when it's wet to wet.
It's wet to wet.
That's
and
curly
now
to curly.
It's, yeah.
You gotta go.
It's
right away.
He's got magic hair. It gets more confusing. Don't worry. Not less. So Sean says, take me instead. Kale says, it's not an either or. I'm going to do her and you'll watch. Not do, but like whatever the fuck he does. I'm going to do her and you'll watch. And then I'll watch you. And he's like,
Great.
Open your eyes, Sean, or I'll kneecap her. I don't know if that's a thing.
Did he say that?
Yeah. I'll kneecap her. And he's pointing the gun at her. And Kale...
Ketryn just fell asleep telling her own story.
Yeah. And Kale opens his eyes. And the girl yells from the pit, Kale, no! And then Kale says, who the fuck is Kale? And I'm like, it's you. Aren't you Kale? Is this where we learn about the curly hair? Maybe some questions will be answered. So then he shoots her and she falls into the pit.
Sweet.
Sure. Sure. Let's go. Let's do this.
I'm not getting a full picture.
Sure. Nor am I, and I'm watching it.
She's outside in front of the pit.
Yes. He's standing between her and Sean, who's sitting
Sean?
On like the porch of his stable.
The porch.
Okay.
And is he like tied up or anything?
I think he's got some of these handy deals, handcuffs. I think
things.
He appears to be kind of moving his hands tied. As if his hands are tied.
And she yells,
"Kale, no!"
And then who we know as Kale
says, "Who the fuck is Kale?"
Okay.
Everybody is about 20 paces from each other.
Got it.
Okay. So then he shoots her. She falls into the pit. Here come the cops.
Yay.
Well, they get to the gate and they're like, "Where's that warrant from the judge?" They can't get in without a warrant. So back at the pit, we look down.
They didn't hear that gunshot.
They did not hear that gunshot. Did they hear that gunshot?
That would be reasonable to go in then. That would be reason to go in.
They did not hear that gunshot. They did not hear that gunshot. You'll see my confusion in a second. So back at the pit, I realized this is a horse pit because that's actually how you have to bury horses is like you have to dig the pit, put them by it, and then they have to fall in. It's awful. That's what my mom had to do. She had to it's terrible. It's really upsetting. But because they're so big
right.
So she's dead. And then not Kale, is saying to Sean, "You get to keep your skin, or at least until the lie takes hold." So that's where I learned it was lie. Mm-hmm. And then he's talking to Kale and he goes through his whole diabolical plan because he's a bad guy. He's got to tell everybody, what his plan was. And he's like, "For a minute there, you had me worried. That screenshot was inspired. But must be inconclusive or the FBI would be here. I see you came here yourself, armed with bolt cutters. Thank you for returning those, by the way. You know I loathe disorder." Mm-hmm. Geostormed! So now we're back at the pit, and the girl opens her eyes. Mm-hmm. Now the FBI is looking for... So this is Kale talking. FBI is looking for her real killer, you. That's the narrative I'm concocting. So he's planning on framing whatchamacallit. Back in the pit, we see that she gets up and she starts to climb out the walls, which loosens up the dirt along the walls, and it's dozens of bodies being uncovered. Just bodies everywhere. So Sean is like, they'll never believe.
Where did she get shot?
Looked like it grazed her head. So it could have knocked her out, but not killed her. So then Sean is like, they'll never believe that. And Kale says, "You have no idea how rich I am." So back in the pit, she's using the bones as a ladder to climb up out of the pit.
Smart.
And Kale is going into more detail about his diabolical plan. "I planted a letter of confession on your hard drive. And I wrote David Tennant making the best of a bad script." And Sean is kind of trying to keep him distracted because then we see that the girl has climbed up out of the pit and David Tennant is Kale is being distracted by being a bad guy. She gets out and Kale says to Sean after going through his whole plan, "What did you think you were going to accomplish?" And Sean says, "I just did. Shovel to the head." The girl hit him in the head with a shovel. And then she looks at Sean, and this is the best line in the movie. She looks at him, she goes, "That is how you fucking save somebody." So she's like, follow through. So then she's like, "We have to get out of here. And I'm also covered in lye." Doesn't lye burn you?
I was going to just ask that. I was like, so didn't the pit that she fell in, wasn't that already in lye? So then didn't she have lye all over herself?
Yes. But and at one point he's like, "Or until the lye takes hold." And I'm like, does it take? I'm pretty sure lye burns immediately. Suspend your disbelief. Spin about in your aerial swing.
I'm a professional liar.
Yep. Oh.
But I'm a scientist about lye.
Right.
And I don't know the answer.
Great. Cool.
We'll postmortem that.
I don't think Geostorm knows either.
All I know is that it looks like white powder.
Yeah. Cool. So.
And burns skinish. So
you know what? We're almost there, Burns. Let's barrel through.
Power through.
So she's covered in lye. Sean goes to hit him with the shovel while he's down, okay? Because he's knocked out, and he's like, I'm going to hit him again for good measure.
Well, I agree with you there.
Yeah, but he quickly rolls over.
You know our rule.
Stab forever.
Stab forever.
Yeah. Quickly rolls over, shoots the shovel out of his hand. So they start running. Kale is chasing. Sean falls. And the girl helps him up. Like, I'm like, Sean, just get out of here, man.
Together,
like,
bro.
I can't. Like, I just can't. And I'm just like, this bitch is a queen. She's the best. Well, that shot of him shooting the shovel out of his hand, the FBI did hear that. And Lady FBI says probable cause. And so now they can go in. This is confusing. Sean sees an axe in a log. And remember before we saw like his stepdad teaching his son how to axe things, okay?
I don't, but sure.
Sure. So he pulls the axe out of the stump, right? Mm-hmm. So in my head, great, he's armed with an axe now. Kale is now looking for Sean. Kale sees the girl. She comes out from behind a tree and turns and just stares at him. And Kale is aiming the gun. Well, she was bait because Sean comes up behind him and hits him with the axe. But then I go, is that not an axe? Because he's just hitting him and Kale isn't being chopped, right? Right. So like he's hitting him over and over again, but he remains.
But he's not stabbing.
He's not chopping him. He remains intact as a whole, right? Okay. So I'm like, did the blade become detached? Did he only pull off the wood part? But why? Would just hit him with a stick then. Why did we need to see this Geostormed? So he's hitting him again, knocks him out. He's out cold. The girl and Sean are standing over him. And the girl says, it's not enough. It's not enough. Referring to like him being knocked out. Kim, what is enough for her and what is enough for you? We're at the finish line, baby.
So are they holding an axe?
No, it doesn't appear to be an axe. It appears to be a stick that once was an axe. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
I mean, because enough would be stabbed forever, but unless there's not a pointy part.
There's no pointy part. There's no fucking pointy part. So what would be her ultimate revenge?
Oh God. To do whatever you do to a horse, I guess, and whatever that means. I'm going to take the gun and shoot him in the head. And then again, until there's no more bullets, because I can't stand this anymore.
Yes. So yeah. So now we're back at the stable.
She's going to lock him up and train him and then ride him around like a pony.
Yep. You have seen this movie. So now we're back at the stable. The FBI has arrived. And girl and Sean are, limping back or limping around. They're there. I don't know.
just hanging out.
Just limping around. So the FBI goes into the stable and he's all chained up in the chair like she was. Mm-hmm. The end.
Is it the end?
Yeah, it's the end.
Good.
Good night.
Goodbye.
It was. So here's the lesson I learned, Kim.
What's that?
David Tennant will do his best, but he cannot save all movies. He was completely
Especially
enjoyable.
because I'm not getting any of David Tennant. No offense to you.
No, I hear you.
But because we're an audio situation.
I hear you. And it really was a clinic in acting, in all seriousness, because not every script you get is going to be a good script.
Right.
And so seeing how he made shit work, incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive.
By that.
Yeah. Let me total up your points and then we'll go take a nap.
I think I'm dead. I don't think I made it.
No, you made it.
I didn't stay alive.
You did. All right. I'll be right back. Hey guys, this is Ketryn
and Kim
from Kim and Ket Stay Alive Maybe. And we want to tell you about a brand new way to listen to our podcast. It's called Podcoin.
What's that, Ketryn?
Well, it's a free app that you can download on your iPhone or Android, and you just listen to podcasts exactly the same way you're doing right now, except you get paid to do it.
I like getting paid.
As do I. So what you can do is, for the amount of time that you listen, you earn pod coins, and you can then trade those pod coins in for things like Amazon gift cards or Starbucks gift cards, which is what I will be using mine for.
Or you can donate to charity, which is what I'll be doing because I'm a better person than you.
That is true. So how do they do it, Kim?
Just download it and then put in our code, Stay Alive, capital S, capital A.
Yeah.
And you'll get 300 points just by joining.
Yeah. So that's it. Get Podcoin and stay alive.
Woo!
Okay, Ms. Burns.
Yes.
You got a really good score. So you got 6 out of 9 dead or alives,
Wow.
by the way.
I mean,
Yeah. Super impressive.
that's the best I've ever done there.
Yeah. 6 out of 9 dead or alives. 17 and a half out of 22 in the questions, plus 2 bonus points. So 19 and a half. So you got 23 out of 31 plus 2. So 25 out of 31.
Mwahaha.
Mwahaha. So
Yay.
great job.
Well, I mean, that's probably the highest score I've ever gotten. So that's good.
This has been Kim and Ket. Stay alive, maybe.
Probably not.
Probably not. So until Monday, stay alive.
We love you.
We love you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Geostormed!